Hey Capricorn, welcome to your weekly forecast for January 3rd through the 9th. Happy birthday to the Cappies that have a birthday in the upcoming week. Now I'm setting the intention here for messages for Capricorn Sun, Moon, and Rising. And I'm setting the intention for the 3rd through the 9th as I said. And by the way, Happy New Year. But you might stumble upon this video outside of the time frame that I mentioned. So don't worry, you found it whenever you were meant to find it and whenever it was time for you to receive the messages. Please be aware that this is a general reading for the Capricorn Collective. Not every single message is going to resonate, but take what does, leave what doesn't, and we'll go from there. Let's see what's coming up here for our lovely Capricorn folk. All right, that feels... yeah, that feels right. I don't have a set number of times I shuffle. I just shuffle till the cards feel right. First card that's coming up here is the Queen of Wands. Now, if you have a fire sign placement, like if you have Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries in your moon, or in your rising, or in your Venus, or wherever, or in certain houses, there might be changes or shifts happening for you in those areas of your houses, or those areas of your life. You might be more focused on those areas of your life or paying more attention to those aspects of your life. I know that a lot of people are used to watching tarot readings for love and romance. So we see the court cards and the major arcana cards as another person coming into the situation. But if you're new to this channel, I do the love readings separate. And in the weekly forecast, I like to talk about you. I like to focus on you and not so much on other people. Albeit some of you could be dealing with a fire sign person or working closely with a fire sign person at this time. The Queen of Wands is coming up to tell me that many of you Capricorns are stepping into the characteristics and the personality traits of the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is a very charismatic, very feisty, very likable, life of the party, funny person, but she is also very driven, very ambitious, very independent. There's an entrepreneur, go-getter, boss kind of energy with the Queen of Wands. And over the years reading for people, one thing I have noticed, the Queen of Wands tends to come up for people when they are at this turning point where they are absolutely, positively, completely done with the BS of giving 100%, sometimes 200%, and getting peanuts back in return. When the Queen of Wands shows up, you're waking up and you're realizing your gifts, your talents, how much people have benefited from having you around. You may be realizing that employers that you have worked for or companies that you've worked for have made a lot of profit and a lot of money because of your work. But you may have found that you don't get promoted, or you don't get raises, or you don't get the credit, or you're being overworked, and you might have a suggestion that, hey, I noticed that, we've been doing things this way and this way and that way, and it's kind of stressful, when I'm getting the work out, and I was thinking it might be easier, or we might be able to get more done, and it might be an easier way if we did it this way instead. And you're just kind of met with, oh, Capricorn, that's the way that we do it, it's just how it is, like, leave well enough alone. There's not a whole lot of consideration about your comfort or what is easier for you, even though you might be the star employee or the star team member. It's just shut up, keep your head down, keep laying those golden eggs, and just leave it how it is. And you start realizing that, and you're like, this is not okay. And you get angry. You get really angry. The Queen of Wands is fed up. She's furious. She knows what she has to offer. She knows what she's bringing to the table, and she's not going to settle for less. There is absolutely positively no way, right? She is in this healthy sense of entitlement. She's furious, and she's using that anger to give her motivation, to give her stamina. It's the energy that she is burning on this quest to find better and to get what she deserves. And because she has this fiery anger element to it, she sees results in a very short period of time. She achieves her goal in a very short period of time. So Capricorn, you may find anger coming to the surface. Don't ignore it. Don't label it as negative. It is a powerful tool. Just like fire. Fire can be used to destroy, but fire can also be used to forge, to cleanse, to disinfect. It can be used for alchemy. It could be used to cook meals, right? It can do a lot of very positive things. And it's the same with anger. Whereas maybe in the past, Capricorn, you allowed anger to destroy you, or you allowed anger to cause you to lash out and to tear down. You're using your anger to build. You are using your anger to create, and it is propelling you forward to get what you are deserving and to be fairly compensated for your gifts and talents. Some of you are using your skills and abilities for yourself. You're saying, I've been doing this long enough, and I'm about to give all my previous employers some competition. Because I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to be my own company. I'm going to be my own service provider. I'm going to be my own creator. Whatever it is, right? You might be deciding that you're going to do this for yourself. And that might be something that a lot of you are finding, that you are beginning to do independent projects or self-employment. The next card that's coming up here is the Five of Cups. Now, I feel the Five of Cups is coming for you in the realization of how much you've given and how much you haven't been treated fairly or respected. And this can hurt, right? It hurts. It stings. Five of Cups comes up when we might be disappointed in the way a situation has panned out. We might be hurt in the situation, the way it has panned out. But the Five of Cups also comes up with the energy of being overwhelmed and not wanting to feel. The Five of Cups can sometimes come up when someone is self-medicating. So as you're going through this transition, as this anger is coming to the surface, as you're having this realization that people who you thought were your friends or your colleagues or had your back, they're smiling in your face and they're taking advantage, this realization is going to be very overwhelming for some of you, to the point where you don't want to feel. And you might be tempted to push down this anger and say, oh, well, I don't want to be negative, but we talked about it. It's not negative. Or you don't want to deal with the hurt of feeling betrayed by certain people. And you might be tempted to self-medicate, whether it's through, smoking that grass or drinking alcohol or some other substance or food or physical intimacy or partying or video games or gambling or whatever it might be. You might be really tempted to self-medicate to not feel. And that is the worst thing that you could do for yourself, because it's going to slow down the progress. We talked about how this anger was going to help propel you forward. We talked about how it was going to help you create. You don't want to extinguish it. You don't want to, be void of emotion. The emotion is going to be a big part of the driving force for change in your life. A lot of you have been desiring change, and you're saying, when is it going to change? When is it going to change? Right? I'm hearing that the blocks are removed. I'm hearing the blocks are gone. When is it going to change? It changes when you're motivated and determined and committed and ready to do things in a different way. And sometimes we can't do that until we get fed up and angry enough. Anger can be a wonderful tool. The next card that's coming up for Capricorn is the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles can be that you might decide that you are conserving your energy or conserving your resources. You might realize that you've been way too generous, that you're going into work and you're giving 200%. And you're getting back, if you're lucky, maybe 75, maybe less than that in return. And so you might be realizing, you know what, I'm not going to go above and beyond anymore. Well, here's where it's tricky, Capricorn. If your employer is used to performing at 200%, even though your job requirement is 100%, and they see you going back to that 100%, they're still going to view that as like you're slacking. They're still going to see that as like, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing because they got used to that 200%. So some of you may be going into a new job, finding a new employer, but now this time you're like, I'm not going to make that mistake at this place. I'm not going to come in here and give them that 200%. I'll give them 100%. For the 100% that they're offering me in terms of pay, but I'm not going to go above and beyond. I'm not going to give them more than what the job requirement was. Whereas maybe before you had this agreement where it was like, well, I'll go in and I'll show them everything that I can do and they'll be impressed and they'll give me that raise or they'll give me that promotion, but it didn't work out that way. Because the agreement that was made was, well, I'm here. I'm so happy to be here that I'll give you 200% for the whatever percent you're paying me. And they said, okay, it sounds like a good deal to me. So if you change and if you start going back to what technically is your responsibility, they're still going to see that as slipping. They're still going to see that as you're going back on your unspoken agreement. So some of you are going to change this unfair exchange rate of energy by finding a new job, by going somewhere else. And you might decide that you're going to take this energy and these gifts and these talents and put them to use for yourself. You might be doing side projects or things like that, or getting your own thing going on the side. But you're just going to clock in and clock out and do your job, do your responsibility, and be paid accordingly. You're not going to do the extras. They're not going to get the bells and whistles because they're not paying you for the bells and whistles. So there's a shift in this way. The Four of Pentacles also sometimes will come up before there is significant money coming in for you, and Spirit is saying hold on to it. Hold on to it. You might be tempted to be very generous with it. You might be tempted to buy a lot of things with it, but Spirit is saying hold on to it because you might be taking it and investing it into something in the near future that's going to help you call in or gather in even more. Or because of the economy and the way things are changing, you're going to be really glad that you have it so that you're not freaked out. You're not scared when things are slowing down or when inflation is soaring. Right? You're like, man, inflation's crazy, but you know what? I'm okay because I have my income coming in. I have this money that I've been holding on to. I've been really responsible with my money. So even though I'm not happy about the current prices, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Right? So you might have a lot of money coming in, and Spirit is saying that there might be some financial changes ahead, that it's going to be really good if you have held on to this money. Okay, so that you're not freaking out, you're not panicking later. Four of Pentacles can also be where some of you are just wanting more physical space. You don't like people in your space. You might be looking for work where it's less collaborative, where you don't have to work so much with other people. You can do your own thing. You can work more independently, or maybe specifically something that you're working from home to where you don't have to be around people. I feel that a lot of you are going into like this really creative energy where you're spending time alone, not in the sense of the hermit where it's a release or an awakening, but I feel like you're very busy on something. Like you're spending time alone and you're working on something. You're creating something. Maybe some of you are working on an invention or an idea that you might be getting patented. Maybe you're working on sharpening your skill set or learning a new trade or a hobby or something that you're finding is very therapeutic. But I see you spending a lot of time alone creating. Okay, for some of you, this could be artistically. For some of you, this could be in terms of business. For some of you, this could be something that is becoming a form of meditation for you. Like you're coming home at the end of the day, or you're done working at the end of the day, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do some resin art. I'm going to, you know, do some little resin project, or a DIY, or crafting, or I'm going to do some painting, or whatever it might be. And you're finding in this process that it's very therapeutic, but it's helping you to hear your messages. It's becoming a form of meditation. And you're spending alone time in this energy. And it's helping you to see more clearly and to make solid plans for your future, and to bring in security. I am not going to talk about love and romance in the weekly forecast, but I do want to say this, that Spirit is drawing my attention. Sometimes the Four of Pentacles comes up for me in a love situation where someone is coming into a time of deliberate celibacy. Sometimes it just happens. We kind of like, maybe like, you know, just don't have the opportunity, or we're not chasing after it, and we just kind of find that, you know, we're not dating, we're not in a relationship, we're not, you know, spending that kind of time with anybody. But Four of Pentacles to me is a deliberate celibacy, where you're saying that, like, I'm taking back my body. I'm clearing the past. I'm clearing the old energies. I'm not sharing myself with anybody. And so some of you might be doing this as a way of, like, you know, cleansing and clearing the past, or healing from previous traumas, or as just a way of cleansing or clearing your energy. But I do feel some of you are making it a point where, like, you don't want relationship. You don't want that physical contact. You want this time of quiet. You want this time of being alone, to work on your plans, your ideas, your creating, your expression. You don't want to share yourself with anybody. That's what I feel when I look at this Four of Pentacles. I'm very valuable, and you don't get to have me. I'm waiting for the right circumstance. I'm waiting for the right person. I got a lot of things to work on right now. I cannot be distracted by you. That's the feeling that I'm feeling when I look at the Four of Pentacles. The next card that's coming up is the Knight of Cups. Now, the Knight of Cups, again, as I said, the court cards can be seen as a person coming into the situation. And a lot of people watch tarot for love and romance, and our poor little Knight of Cups gets typecast as a Don Juan, as a player. Now, don't get me wrong. That is definitely one of the messages or one of the meanings of the Knight of Cups. It can mean that sometimes. It doesn't mean that every single time. It depends on the situation. It depends on the other cards that are coming up around it. It depends on the energy of the situation. And it depends on what the question is, what we're asking, what we're looking into. And we're not focusing on love and romance here. Okay? Even if it was love and romance, Knight of Cups is not going to mean a Don Juan or a player every single time. In this instance, the Knight of Cups is the pursuit of the things that make your heart smile, that give you sense of inspiration. The Knight of Cups can be the pursuit of beauty, inspiration, adventure, and creativity. It's being very active in your heart space and exploring your heart space. It's that quest for adventure. I also see the Knight of Cups come up when people are unblocking to receive. And one of the first signs that they've unblocked to receive is they're beginning to see beauty around them in very simple, very everyday things that they have overlooked for a long time. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, I never realized how beautiful green was as a color. I've completely and totally, overlooked or taken that color for granted, or whatever color it is. I've never noticed how beautiful the traffic lights look on the bus ride home. I've never noticed how beautiful and inspiring those little blades of grass or those little branches are that are growing out of the cracks in the sidewalk. They're busting through. They're finding a way. Wow, that's powerful. That's inspirational. Like, you're starting to find beauty and inspiration in the everyday things around you. And this is the first way in which you're beginning to receive. And the financial receiving will follow. Okay? You may want to check out your moon sign and your rising sign. Some weeks, your moon sign or rising sign might resonate more than your sun sign. You may want to check out the love and romance readings for January. Those are linked in the description. Now that I think about it, what I was getting from the Four of Pentacles, it does align with a lot of the messages that came in for you guys for January in love and romance. So that might be worth checking out for some of you. The 2022 12-month forecasts for all zodiac signs are posted. Be sure to check those out. Those are linked in the description as well. If you would like to schedule a private reading with me, you can schedule by going to calendly.com/amethystangelite. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Have a wonderful week, my dears. Take care. Happy New Year.